on your page. Thank you so much. It's so good to have you today on the show. I would like us to, how are you doing today?
I'm very well, thank you. Thank you so much for inviting me to come on. I've been following you too myself, and I see that you're doing amazing things. Yeah, to talk about, this is like over 100, episodes of TalkInfluencers. That's fantastic. Amazing.
Of course, this is our 106 episode with you today. And we want to say thank you so much, Rahina, for the things that you do. I would like us to start immediately. All right, so hello everyone, and welcome to the TalkInfluencers. Of course, this is where we explore the mindset of amazing achievers, we share their secret to success, and how the decisions they've made over the years are shaped to transform who they are today. We're also committed to provide each and every one of you with the tools and the knowledge that you need to unlock your potentials and to influence the world. Wherever you're watching me around the world, my name is Simon Adewale, and today we have an amazing guest with us in person of RAHINA IDRIS. Of course, for those who don't know who she is, of course, she's a life coach, and of course, is someone that we need to listen to. An amazing guest we have today. We are so excited to do on the show because we believe that she's going to share a lot of things that will help, and not only help, but transform you and I life right here on the show. So thank you so much, RAHINA, for joining us today on the TalkInfluencers. Yes, all right, so I'd like to ask you this. Growing up for you, what's the #1 decision that you made head in life that had made a tremendous impact to who you are today?
Well, honestly, I was a late starter. I've always been quite ambitious. I've always had things that I've looked onto. But I think, like many of us within our society, we get lost because there's not so much guidance and counseling like there used to be, back in the days where the older generation, they had that privilege. And I think, the irony is it should have gotten better, but it got worse, So for me, I was kind of lost for so many years. I was trying to really figure out what I even wanted to do, whether, I was even, in the right direction. Was it, did I take the, in fact, I knew that I didn't take, even take the right course in university. At least I thought so at that time. But as for me, much later in life, I think a lot of reflections really helped me in shaping who I am today. I think reflections have played such a big role, and then the support system that I have around me has also helped me in making the decisions that I've made now, as I, move into, okay, I'm an adult, yeah, but as I'm growing, let me put it that way, as I'm growing. But like I said, I was a late starter. I had a lot of issues because I was really trying to figure out what I even wanted. It started, to slowly affect my self-esteem, my confidence. And that's the danger, when people don't take personal development as important, it could really affect virtually almost every area of your life, because that's the way to go. But of course, in our own society, we just think that, the focus should be on making money or, just external factors. I think it's really important that we start to look internally, and also as we move along, guide the younger generations so that, before they get to that stage, they can actually start early, as they say, catch them young, so that they don't have to go through our own traps, the mistakes that we've made, and sort of be able to find their way through, because clarity is really important early on in life. When you don't have clarity in life, it becomes difficult to even know where you're going or know the direction to which you're going. I see a lot of young people out there, even now, struggling to find out, what do I want to even study? They find out, people go through medical school, years after wasting 7 years of their time, they just realize that this is not even where I want to be. And a lot of us have gone through that trap. I think it's about time that we start changing the narratives, trying to groom the younger generation so that they don't have to go through those things. Like I said, those things can be very costly, because they affect self-esteem, self-worth, you know, confidence or abilities of oneself. So really having a grasp of where you're going to can really make a huge difference in how a person turns out much later in life. So I think for me, I would say clarity really played a big role in shaping who I am today, understanding that this is what I even want. These are my opinions. These are the things that I love doing. All of those things put together have really played a big role in, you know, where I am today. Yeah.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, you know, for saying that. You know, and you mentioned something about clarity, and you agree with me that so many youths are finding it difficult to even understand who they are, especially even those that goes to university. You find at the end of the university days, they study the course, and afterwards they see they're not furthering on that course and all. How were you able to, you know, understand who you are as a person to be able to be who you are today?
Honestly, I think for me, there was a lot of trial and error because like I said, personally, deep inside, there's always been that burning desire inside of me to want to be something worth much bigger than I was. There was a lot of trial and error, and along the way, because there was that passion and the energy was there, I was able to figure it out. Although I had to go through the long route, which a lot of people don't need to, you know, go through that, you know, but personally, I had to go through the long route in trying to, you know, trying my hands on so many things, you know. I tried this, okay, it doesn't work, I tried that. But like I said, the energy was there, the passion was there, and there was somewhere in me, there was a sense of purpose, which I was trying to discover. Along the way, I found it. Like I said, it was almost accidentally I found it, but I also say it was accidental, but it wasn't accidental because I was doing the work. So it's important, you know, when we talk about people, you know, people say that hard work is not enough and all of those things, all those motivational talks and all of that. I always say that, yes, it's not enough, but at the same time, the work has to be done. We can't just sit in one place and assume that things are going to come together. Something has to give. There are a lot of sacrifices that we have to make in the process of growing. One of my mentors says that you have to give up before you go up. You know, it's one of the principles of life. One has to give up a lot of things. There's a lot that one has to let go of, and we have to be able to. I had to let go of a lot of comfortable things that actually felt comfortable for me to be able to discover some of those things that I was able to discover in the process of growing. But of course, it's not everybody that has to go through the hard route like I had to go through. There are a lot of things that one can do to just shorten the process. But like I said, I was trying my hands on a lot of things. I tried this, it doesn't work. It was almost like experimental, you know, when people go into labs and they try this and try that, okay, this doesn't work, and then boom, you wake up and you're like, okay, when, you know, something something exciting just happened. So for me, it was a lot of that, and then also speaking to other people. I was one person who actually used to struggle talking to people because I was so scared of failure. And in the process, I found out that I needed to let go. That was one of the sacrifices I had to make. I had to be willing to allow myself to fall flat in front of people and then pick myself up. Because when you have the idea or the notion somewhere inside of you that you're not willing to fall in front of people, obviously there's a lot that one misses, and I can say that from experience. You know, I could go into class and I would sit in the middle of you know, the class because I don't want to be in the front so that I don't get picked on, and I don't want to be in the back because naturally they pick on those on the back too. So I sit in the middle because I just wanted to be invisible. But I had to start pushing myself, asking questions, putting myself out, looking for people within my own industry, people that are doing well, people that I see as role models, speaking to them, opening up to them, about things that I felt I needed to understand, things that I felt I needed to, um, understand better, and then also to help myself, to learn new things, learn new ideas and perspectives as well. And in that process, I think I learned a lot, and I'm still learning because I've not closed that door. so I think that's really important in finding clarity. One has to be willing to have an open mind to learn a lot of new things in the process.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. You mentioned about that you have to be learning. It's a continuous process. So I was reading your post and you said something about consistency outweighs resistance. So
Yeah.
Can you just explain more about that statement? Consistency outweighs resistance.
Yeah, consistency, I think, because when we start to talk about consistency, it's actually one of the most difficult things, discipline. When it comes to building that discipline, to come out every day, to show up every day, it's a very difficult thing. Wherever you find yourself, showing up is actually the most difficult part. I think taking the decision to do something is the easiest part, but showing up is actually the most difficult part. In the process of building that level of discipline where you're able to come out every single day and say that I've been able to read 30, I've set a goal for myself to read 30 minutes a day, and I've been able to do it consistently for the next, in the last 6 months. Or maybe it's a 30 minutes walk, that you take, or maybe even it's, you're in the habit of not sleeping properly and you decide that, okay, every day I'm going to take a 5 minutes power nap, or whatever it is that, you set out to achieve. I think the most difficult part, like I said, is having to come out every single day, because there is something inside of us that keeps stopping us and keeps telling us, and that thing a lot of time is actually fear. There's something inside of you that is constantly reminding you that you're inadequate, something constantly reminding you that you're not doing enough, something constantly reminding you that you need to stop, there's probably danger ahead. I call them the demons in our head. Somehow they just keep reminding us that there's something that is lacking, and there's something in the process of consistency. You have to learn to not listen, to shut down all of those noises and focus on what is really important. Really narrow down on what is it that you really want to do, what is it that is important to you at that particular time, and be willing to, regardless of whatever comes at you, be able to push through in that, at that particular moment. Sometimes people get lost because, going back to what I said earlier, lack of clarity. When there's no clarity, it's very easy to lose focus. It's very easy to lose track of where you're going. But when you shut it down and sort of narrow it in and block, all the unnecessary distractions around you, then you can be able to, be ahead of the, whatever resistance that is going to come at you. So it's really important, like I said, to shut all of those noises. Like I said, it's easier said than done, but it's doable. It is doable.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for saying that. Now, I don't ask you this right now. Can you share with us 3 advices you have received from someone that have made a tremendous impact to who you are today? 3 advices you have received from someone that has made a tremendous impact to who you are today.
Okay. I think
Yeah, I can hear you.
Just shut it down. I just realized um, I didn't block my. So sorry about this.
No, it's fine.
Yeah. Okay. Just realized I actually didn't shut down my calls. So
Okay.
yeah, three advices that have made a big impact in my life. I think the first one is I think it's on the issue of criticism, because I think someone once said to me that you know, you need to allow yourself to grow regardless of what people might say or what people might think of you. I think that really made an impact because a lot of times it's the fear inside of us that, you know, what people, what people might say, or the judgment that might come at you, or either, you know, the fact that people are going to think that you failed. Maybe you try your hands on something and you fail, and for those reasons you sort of hold back and not take certain steps in your life. I think for me personally, having to take that decision that this is where I'm going, this is where I want to go, and the fact that those things is the things that I want to do are not in, you know, in misalignment with my own values, then I'm actually willing to stick my neck, you know, out and do it regardless of, you know, what people might, you know, judgment or whatever it is. But most importantly, staying glued to my values in the process of, you know, whatever I'm doing. I think that really made an impact on me. Secondly was from one of my mentors, Paul Martinelli. This, you know, when I started my journey of self-discovery, and I remember sitting in a session and he said something about jump and grow your wings on the way down. That really made a huge impact on me, because it actually was the point which I decided to start Ducci Consulting. You know, I wasn't sure what was ahead of me. I wasn't sure how I was going to run it, or I wasn't even sure of, you know, I knew that what I wanted to do, but what was going to come of it, I wasn't really sure. There was a lot of fear, resistance, and all of those things, but I was willing to grow my wings on the way down. And thank God I took that advice, and it's actually, I've actually grown. I keep saying that sometimes I look at myself and I'm excited, because I say that in the process of helping others to grow themselves, there's a lot that has happened to me. Sometimes I say that, is this a selfish journey? Because I feel that through the journey, I've actually grown personally myself, in the process of growing others. So for me, that has made a lot of impact on me. Then thirdly is, I heard once from someone who said, you have to get your hands dirty in the process of growth. And getting messy in the sense that, I mean, dirty not in a negative way, but one has to understand that, you know, earlier I mentioned the fact that we have to put in the work, simple as that. As much as we think that, yes, you know, people say that, you know, hard work is not enough, but at the same time that, you know, the work isn't going to be done if nobody does it. So somehow we have to put our hands into the mess and actually get it dirty. And I believe in leadership as well, for one to be able to grow to a certain level and then grow the people around them, they have to be in the front line. One has to actually put their right foot out, in order for other people to follow, you know. So I think those three pieces of advice as something that has stayed with me for a very long time, and I think will stay with me forever, because it shaped my life, and I believe that there's a lot that it can do in the lives of other people as well. And I live by some of those principles, and I believe that in believing in those principles, there's a lot that I can do, even moving ahead to support others and then to actually grow myself in ways that I never imagined I could grow. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Rahina, for that. I'd like to ask you this, and if you are given an opportunity to speak to the whole world for 1 minute, what are you going to talk about and why?
Wow. Interesting. If I was given for a minute, did you say?
Yeah.
If I was given a minute, I think I would speak about leadership. Because as my mentor, John Maxwell, says, everything rises and falls on leadership. And I believe leadership is the reason why the world is where it is today, where with all the chaos, with all the challenges that we're going through, I mean, the global crisis we're having, leadership is the reason why our country, Nigeria, is where it is, you know. So, and I look around, not just Nigeria, even beyond, I see a lot happening that with the right leadership, I think a lot of things could be different. A lot of things could be, I mean, a lot of homes could be better, because I did mention earlier to say that, you know, everything rises and falls on leadership, and leadership is an all-rounded thing within our homes. You know, there's a lot of things that are happening within homes, loss of values within our societies, loss of compassion, empathy, and all of those things, lack of vision. I think I would want to talk about leadership. It's an area that I enjoy learning, and then also exploring, and then getting my hands dirty. I mean, I'm not interested in any political position, and I don't think I will ever be. So when I talk, I mean, and I'm saying this because a lot of people, when you talk about leadership, the first thing that comes to their mind is, you know, politics. No, leadership is much bigger than that. You know, like I said, leadership is in homes, it's in schools, it's in communities, it's everywhere. You know, so everywhere we find ourselves is leadership that actually makes the difference, you know. So I think, yeah, I would say leadership.
Thank you so much for mentioning that. All right. Speaking of leadership, I just said now, how can one lead oneself? Because I see that you wrote it on your, of course, on your page, and you wrote something that before one can lead anyone, you have to first of all lead yourself. So how can I or anyone that wants to be in position of leadership lead oneself? How can I lead oneself?
Well, self-leadership is said to be the, I mean, agreed by experts, it's actually the best form of leadership, because that sort of takes us to back to, like, personal development is an aspect of leadership, because when one isn't able to understand themselves or have clarity in their own vision, how do you expect to lead a community or lead a home or lead a society? So it cuts across, you know, it has to start from within. Leadership starts from within. One has to be able to understand who they are, understand what they want, understand how their strengths can affect, you know, the society or impact on the society. Their strength can impact on the society, and how their weaknesses rather could affect the society. So having that internal being able to go back into oneself and internally audit oneself and understand what is going on inside can actually help us, you know, in finding our sense of purpose, our sense of clarity, and be able to know exactly how we can use some of those strengths to the advantage of the larger society, you know, or to the advantage of our community. So self-leadership is, you know, I think it's actually starts from at the bottom of, you know, leadership is, you know, self-awareness. You know, one has to be able to understand their own selves, and then be able to discover their own abilities and what responsibilities or parts they can play within the society. So I think that's really key in in understanding in self-leadership. Yeah.
Absolutely, absolutely. Thank you so much for mentioning about self-awareness and want us to understand oneself before you first lead others. So I'd like to ask you this at that right now, what advice are you going to give to the 21-year-old RAHINA IDRIS? What advice are you going to give to her?
Well, I would say be open to learning. I would say be open to learning, because it is through learning that so much happens. Because when our minds are locked in, let me put it that way, when our minds are locked in, opportunities come and go, and one is not able to see them. So be open to learning something new every day. Sometimes when learning doesn't have to be, strict learning. It could be so many, in so many ways. I'll give an example. Some weeks back, I took on to swimming, new skill, and in the process, I was listening to my instructor, and I was going beyond just the skills that she was teaching me in, how to swim, but I was thinking of those skills that she was actually transferring to me as also life skills, where a lot of the things that one has to take responsibility for their own actions. One has to take responsibility for their own selves. The moment you jump into that water, you're actually responsible for your own self, what you do and what, so it's just the same skills. I was able to transfer some of the things that she was actually teaching me in water into life, seeing that one can be actually coached through from zero skills to something big. So it's generally for me, I think, learning in different ways. Like I said, it doesn't have to be strict learning, because when we say that, okay, we're going to box ourselves and all we're going to do is read, go to class every single day. In fact, sometimes in classrooms we miss it. It's in the day-to-day activities that we do that if your mind is open, you will learn. I think for example, in my faith, it says there's a lot of learning that happens in traveling. Learning is actually, traveling is actually education. And it's when you only see those things when the mind is open. It's only when you only see those learning opportunities when your mind is open to seeing new things, on learning and relearning, the whole process. So I would say that would be one of the advice that I would say, and then also secondly, I would say have a good support system, because that beats nothing. Having the right people and around us can actually help us to move further up the ladder from where we are, because one of the things that I've come to realize is that no man is an island. God put us all in this world for a reason. We're here today for a reason. And it's through people that God speaks to us, through people that we learn new things. So I think for me, those things are really, really important. Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much, RAHINA. So even as we round up now, I'd like to ask you this, that as a life coach, what do you think that a lot of us fail to understand about life?
Sorry, can you come again?
Yeah, I said as a life coach, what do you feel that a lot of us fail to understand about our approach to the things of life entirely?
Oh, wow. Okay. I would say that more emphasis is being made in attaining or bagging worldly things than us looking at how we can go back into ourselves. It takes us back to self-awareness. I think there's growth is an inside out process. You know, something has to grow from the the growth process, sorry, rather starts from the inside before it can actually begin to radiate or blossom from the outside. But in most cases, I think people do it the other way around. I actually was doing it that way too personally, because we don't understand it. We're not being taught in school or maybe even at home, you know, how to understand life or how to see life. We're just being told this is left, this is right, you know, you go this way, you touch fire, you burn your hand, you know. That approach to learning, I think, has to change, you know, because the world is changing, you know. People are becoming much more aware and becoming much wiser that you know, go left and right is probably a system of, you know, or maybe fear. Using fear might not really work in helping people to understand themselves. I think a lot more, you know, because, you know, look at the new generation, the younger generation, how you know, before, let me take us back a little, before, if a mother looks at her child and she, you know, it just takes a look, you know, and they're able to understand that, okay, this is stop, this is a no. But now they'll ask you why, you know, and you have to explain. If you don't answer that why, they'll keep asking till you give them something. So it's important that we stop using the fear approach. Fear, of course, is definitely we cannot you know, eradicate it, and or is that the right word to use, or just say, okay, no, I'm not going to be scared anymore, or I'm not going to go through fear, because it also has a role to play in our lives. But at the same time, we cannot use it as the main tool to growth, you know. So we have to start looking at life from a different perspective, where we begin to actually develop ourselves and then take responsibility for ourselves, take responsibility for our actions, because yeah, we have to learn to, there's something that I came across. It's, yeah, okay, yeah, we have to take responsibilities for our actions, and then that only happens when one begins to accept themselves, you know, for who they are, and then begin to look for ways on how they can develop or grow themselves in different ways. So it's important that, you know, learning starts from within, and, you know, that way it grows out.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. You know, you mentioned about having the right people around you, and that you said it's key for somebody to become better in life. So why is it so important that once you understand the kind of friends you keep, and you're to become the better person that you want to be? Why is it so important?
They say we're the average of 5 people around us. You know, we're an average of, you know, the 5 people that are around us. If you have 5 forward-thinking people around you, you're probably the 6th forward thinker in there. If you have 5 poor people around you, you're the 6th poor person around. So that it's sort of that way, you know. It's where it's almost like you know, what we have around us do have, and what it means is that, you know, what the kind of people we keep around us can make a tremendous impact on our own lives. So it's really important that you know, you have the right people that support you at all times. Of course, it's in reality, it's not that way, but let it be in a way that at least most of the people that you keep around you are able to support you. If you come up with an idea, they're not going to knock down that idea. They'll probably listen to you and then proffer a good advice, or maybe even solution to how you can make things better. Or sometimes you just need the people that you can have around you that just listen to you. And there are times that we just want to be listened to. We probably just want to be listened to, not necessarily wanting other people to knock that idea down, but we just want somebody to just listen and say, hey, you know, I've got your back. that's what we need. So sometimes we have to have different sort of support systems in different areas of our lives, you know, from our career self to our personal self to our social self to, you know, our healthy self. Whatever it is, we need to have different people from different areas of our lives that are supporting us in different ways. They're friends that you're going to have around you that all they do is, like I said, is just to cheer you. Maybe we don't want to have people around us that are always cheering us and telling us, okay, yeah, you've done right. We also want people in our lives that are also going to tell us when things go wrong. Of course, not in a negative way, when it's not destructive, but people that are going to tell us the truth, regardless of how it sounds or how it feels. They're going to call us back when they feel that, you know, things are going wrong. So we need different types of support system around us that can help us to bounce on and bounce off when we need to. Yeah. So I think that can help in the process of you know, growing.
Thank you so much, Rahina, for that. Everyone has to round up now. And Rahina, thank you so much for the wonderful thing that you have said. I know during the course of this section, it has been life transforming for myself, and of course, people that are watching us right here, right live on the show today. So, Rahina, can you share with us? Is there anything you're working on that you want people to know about, and where can people reach you? I know you're on Instagram, of course, and you're of different platforms. You can also mention them so that people can, of course, go back and watch this, and of course, follow you to keep an update on, of course, all your thought process and your words that you share on your platform.
Okay, yeah. I've been there's a program that I started this year. We're just opening up the fourth cohort of that program. It's called the Thriving Mind. And the Thriving Mind was a program that I started because I, like, you know, most of the things that we discussed today as a result of the fact that a lot of people are trying to find clarity in their lives, trying to find purpose, or they're having issues with their confidence and all of that. So the Thriving Mind is we started it, we started the pilot program in January, and we're actually taking the fourth cohort in late September. So we've opened up, that door, and I think it's something that we've seen great results from people that have participated, and so it's at least one of the things that I'm working on at this particular time. And then to find me, you can find me on Instagram at Duchi Consulting, DUCIS. You can click on the link. People ask me, what does Duchi means? It means, it's a Latin word for growth. So yeah, so you can find me at Duchi Consulting. You can also find me on Facebook using my name, RAHINA IDRIS. You can reach out to me that way. Yeah,
absolutely. Thank you so much, Rahina. It has been an awesome moment with you today. You can see someone writing, great guest today at the top.
Wow, thank you. Thank you so much for having me too. Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you so much. That shows that, of course, you have said a lot of things that have transformed a lot of people's life today. Thank you so much. It's so amazing to have you today right here on the show. Thank you everyone for joining in. This is the Talk Influencer. We had an amazing guest today in person of Rahina IDRIS, an amazing guest. So please go follow her on Instagram, of course, and on Facebook as Rahina IDRIS. And of course, we are going to learn a lot from her because she's someone that we at the Talk Influencers do follow, of course, and a lot of nuggets and words that can transform your life for the better. Of course, that's what she does. She's a life coach, an amazing life coach at his best. Thank you so much, Rahina, for the things that you do. And thank you for the impact that you have made in our life today. Thank you so much. We really appreciate you.
Thank you so much for having me too. Have a nice day.
Have a nice day. Absolutely. Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone. And until next time, thank you for joining us today, everyone. This is the Talk Influencer. And until next time, till we see you next week, this is the Talk Influencers. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Bye.